How's it going?
I feel like I'm in a zoo.
Moo.
Peanuts.
So yeah, we're the animals.
So you just got off, doing a rock show with Fozzy. I mean,
Yeah.
just talk about the transition that you make, overnight, essentially, from wrestler, rock star wrestler. How do you juggle both?
Well, you don't juggle. Fozzy's been the priority for me for the last 5 or 6 years, and wrestling is what really was happening in between tour cycles. You put out a record, you do a tour. When AEW came out, the opportunity, obviously super excited about it, but we've had 2 shows. This is my second show for AEW. It just so happened there was a Fozzy gig last night. How do you transition between the two? It's not hard to do that because it's all from the same world, show business, connecting with the audience, and being an entertainer, which is what we do. So, I was in Columbus last night, outside of Columbus, at a rock show that took place outside the penitentiary where they filmed Shawshank Redemption.
Wait, was that the Andrew WK concert?
No, it was the Fozzy concert.
He did his own?
Sorry.
Andrew WK.
Sorry.
Close your ears, he knows what to do. But yeah, so we did the show and then came for the show tonight. So, but it's just part of what I do. There's a lot of different activities in a Jericho week, and this was a good one for both.
What do you think of the crowd here in Jackoffville tonight?
It's funny, I did a podcast with MJF and we were talking about you. Neither one of us could figure out how to pronounce your name, but you're just Chris Van Vliet.
Chris Van Vliet.
Thanks. Jackoffville. You know what? It was really cool. It's an interesting venue in a good way because it looks great on TV. And this is something that I think is very important for us to do as a company, is do shows that look different from what you see every Monday night. And this is a great example of that. Having said that, being outside in that 150-degree heat for 5 hours was a little long, and you could tell from the energy from the crowd from beginning to end. But the show was great, and I really enjoyed the look of it. I think it came across very well from that aspect of it.
Jericho.
Yes!
Going into the Hangman versus you match, you seem not that stressed. How do you feel the match will end up?
Well, I told you I am kind of stressed if you heard what I said tonight, because watching that Battle Royal at Double or Nothing and seeing all the guys involved, the guy that I did not want to win was Hangman, because he is as good of a new talent that I've seen in a long time. And it is going to be not easy to beat him. Of course, I'm going to beat him. You know that. But it's one of those things where I have to be very careful with what I do, and that's why you see what happened to his eye tonight? Cut open, bleeding, big black eye. That's not show business. That's the real deal. And that's the message that I'm sending him, to let him know that this is not going to be easy, because if I don't beat Adam Page, it could be the beginning of the end of Chris Jericho's illustrious career.
And thank you.
All right, good job.
You did that explosive interview with Moxley. What kind of reaction have you been getting from inside the business from it, and how do you think it's affected the business, if at all?
I think you're talking about the Talk is Jericho interview. I think Mox was really excited is maybe a possible word for it, but he was really thinking about that for a couple months, because I mentioned it to him, and he's like, I want to do this. When I leave, I want to do this. And he told me he thought about it for weeks about what he was going to say. I think it really kind of exposed and opened up a lot of Pandora's boxes of what it's like in the WWE. And to me, this is not a burial of the WWE. When you work there, it's how it is. If you work at a factory and the factory says you have to put this box on this conveyor belt every day, and that's how you make your money, then you do it. If you don't like it, you go somewhere else. That system is very, very confining when it comes to a lot of creativity. Tonight, I said this to Dean Malenko, is the first time in 20 years that I've ever done a promo with no script, no approval of what I'm going to say, and really no idea of what I'm going to say. Just knowing I have a point and some directions that I may or may not want to go. When Hangman got busted open, that changed the entire design of the promo, and it was very liberating. How good are you, Chris Jericho? Can you go out there live without a net, with no pre-prepared, memorized script, and captivate an audience? And I think it worked out very well. And of course I can do it, but we've never ever get that chance to do it in the WWE. So it's the other side of the coin. If you want creative freedom, we can give you that in AEW. And I think that's one of the reasons why there's such a buzz about this company, is that the fans can feel that.
Chris, you attacked Hangman Page. You made him bleed. You come back out, and you did something that we haven't really seen a lot of you. You actually respected your opponent going into the championship match. What is it about Hangman Page that he's really already earned your respect?
Well, you always should do that. It's something I learned back in 1991 when I was doing a program with a guy called Bulldog Bob Brown, who was probably 50 at the time. I was 19 or 20, seemed like he was 100. Miserable prick, not a good guy, not a particularly great worker, but he was the boss. And I did some kind of a promo, hey, old man, I'm going to beat you up. And he said, come here, let me tell you something. When you call me an old man, if I beat you, and I'm going to beat you, you got beaten by an old man. You got to go out there and let people know that this person is a tremendous performer, which Hangman is. If I go out there and beat the old man, who am I? If I go out there and beat Hangman Page, who I've described as one of the best up-and-coming talents that I've seen in years, which I really feel that, then it's good for him and it's good for me. That's how you build a match. That's how you get people intrigued in a match. We don't know who's going to win that match. I don't know. And I think that's one of the reasons why you go and see Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. Who's going to win? We don't know what to expect. When you have that really coveted matchup for the title, the world title, it's all there. It's very easy. It's not rocket science. Championship match for the first ever AEW champion with the guy that's kind of one of the hottest in the business that we all know. He's kind of been deemed the chosen one indirectly because you're talking about Kenny and you're talking about Cody and the Bucks and Jericho and all these guys. Hangman's kind of the other one. So we have a job to do at All Out to put on a great match, which we will, and to make Hangman into a bigger star and to make me the first AEW champion, which is the only way it's going to go, because if it doesn't, like I said, where do I go from here? If Hangman Page beats me, what do I do? You get one chance to make that, you work your way up the ladder and you lose, you don't get another chance to go back to the bottom, helter-skelter, and go back to the top of the slide. So I have to win. I have to win. The problem is my opponent, like I said, no disrespect, but I kind of wish it was the kid with no legs that won the Battle Royal on some kind of fluke. It'd be a lot easier.
Chris, what do you think?
Last question.
What do you think with TV?
You talked about, being an AEW, you're kind of like, hey, thanks, brother. It's kind of like you're the Renaissance man in a lot of ways, reinventing yourself, and so to speak. And a lot of people have compared you to like Terry Funk's reign in ECW and him just constantly reinventing himself. Do you feel that way, like being in AEW and how it's been for you so far, and just coming back into it?
I mean, my mission always has been to reinvent and evolve. It's David Bowie. That's been one of my inspirations since I was 25 years old, realizing that you have this guy who's a genius and who constantly changes what he's doing, what he looks like, to keep the fans guessing. What's Bowie's next record going to be? Is it going to be electro? Is it going to be, Let's Dance 50s, rhythm and blues rock? Is it going to be, techno? Is it going to be whatever? And what look is he going to have? And that's what I always wanted to do, but it's not something that's calculated. It's something that just happens for me. The Painmaker in Japan with the makeup and all that sort of stuff, it just felt right. And some people go, he looks like a clown. Like, I don't fucking care what you think. Is to me, that's the way this character should be. Same thing with the character that you saw tonight with the thank you. Like, I really think I should have some kind of a thank you from the company. And then when Adam Page is busted open and there's blood over everything, it's like, oh, that's my thank you. So all of these things happen organically. And I think that's one reason why I have the longevity in the business, because people don't know what to expect. There's a lot of guys that you go to the county fair and see them do the same act they did 20 years ago, and that's fine, but I've never been that way. When you chant Y2J, I don't even relate with that character anymore. That guy was 20 years ago. There's been so much more since then. I remember I went to a radio station once with Lemmy, and they were talking about Motorhead's in town tonight. We're going to play Motorhead's Ace of Spades. And Lemmy was like, we've had 15 albums since that. You could play some other songs. Like, I'm sorry, Lemmy, we don't have the new album. He said, I do. And he pulled the new album out. They had to play something from the record. That's what I want people to always want to hear, my new material.